Before you watch this video, here's a quick disclaimer. This is a raw, in-depth video where I will make sure that by the end of the video, you will improve. If you seriously want to improve at Fortnite, if you want to win more fights, always make the right peaks, and have some of the best mechanics in the game, then watch this full video. There's gonna be no flashy edits, just a full, no BS guide to help you see huge improvement. So if you can't sit and watch this full video, then you'll likely never improve as fast as you want. First, let's go over some of the fundamentals that every single person needs to know. First is just really basic, just 90s. And again, I'm going over the basic fundamentals first really quickly, and then I'll go over the more advanced stuff later in the video. But to do a 90, you just place a ramp, and then you swing walls around like this, and then you jump, place a floor and a ramp, and then you just keep on repeating this like this. And you should also learn to do this without jumping, and also with jumping as well. And then an even faster version is these sprint 90s, which get you height a lot faster and use less mats. These actually are used a lot more than normal 90s, because either way, you should only be doing 90s when your enemy's distracted or something like that. Otherwise, they'll just shoot you because it's really open. And to do sprint 90s, all you do is place a ramp and then go to the top of the ramp, look down here, place a floor and a ramp, and then you just keep on doing this. And you also add sprinting in, which makes it a lot faster. And this does take some time to get used to doing if you haven't done it before. And then next up are these clicks 90s, which you can also add sprinting into to make it a lot faster. And to do this, you just place a ramp in front, and then you look down, place a floor and a ramp, and then you walk up and jump like this, place a floor and another ramp, and then you can just keep on repeating this like this and just spamming this over and over again. And to go even faster, you can also add sprinting, which gets you like even faster. Then you also need to know how to do cone edits, like a single cone edit like this, and then a double edit. And you also need to know how to do triple edits, and you also need to know how to do quad edits. You don't actually need to use quad edits in games, so you can pass on these, but I recommend learning them just because it improves your mechanics overall, in my opinion. Something else you need to know is building placement, and you need to master this because if you do, you'll win so many more fights. But before I tell you what this is and how it can literally win you 10 times more fights in seconds, if you are trying to improve in competitive Fortnite, you need to be using snapping. And it's not even out yet, so I literally have nothing to sell you, but you need to hear me out because otherwise you'll probably fall behind everyone else. Because snapping is a full improvement system with a 24/7 AI coach trained on pro strategies and advice from top pro coaches. So you get personalized pro level advice instantly. It also builds personalized pro level routines based on your weaknesses, and it also has a full progression system, a weaknesses tracker, tournament journal, goal setting system, and it's all synced to your coach. You can even make AI powered game plans for tournaments, and this AI is trained on everything to do with how to perfectly play every game and all the best ways to practice. Imagine having an AI that knows everything about competitive Fortnite, every pro strategy, every rotation rule, every endgame pattern, the best way to practice, every meta change, and every mistake you keep on repeating. An AI trained on advice from top pros, proven coaching methods, and thousands of hours of high-level competitive knowledge. That's exactly what snapping gives you, the closest thing to a pro coach, but one that never sleeps, never guesses, and always gives you exactly what works. If you want to improve fast and get unlimited access to all these features, click the link in the description to sign up to the launch newsletter, where I'll personally send you a message as soon as it releases. No sales emails, I literally just want to build a list of people who would genuinely be interested in buying snapping when it comes out. Only sign up if you would genuinely be interested in getting this platform for around $15. But now let's get back to the video and let me explain building placement. And basically what I mean is you can place builds in locations you might have not known you could have, all by positioning your crosshair in a certain position. And with this cone trick that I just showed you, if you just positioned your crosshair on this line, it's going to cone over you. But what you want to do is position your crosshair to just above this wall like this. As you can see, my crosshair is just above the wall, and that is going to make it so this cone is going to place over the wall, and this can cone the enemy over their wall, and then that gives you a layer layer of piece control, so you can go for a move like this or something like that and get a free shot, or most of the time a free kill. And another build placement trick is this trick right here, where you can place cones one cone away and through your cone. And to do this, you just place a cone, then you click edit and edit this tile, and as you confirm, you place a cone, and what this is going to do is it's going to place through the broken cone and turbo build through the broken cone. And just doing it like this, you can't actually see the advantage it gets you, but in a fight it means if both you and the enemy are trying to cone the other person, if you do this trick and they don't, you'll get the cone no matter what, even if you have worse ping. Now real quick, let's talk about editing, because most of you mess up when it comes to editing and you don't even know it. One thing a lot of you mess up with is just repeating this peanut butter edit over and over again, or repeating the obvious edits over and over again. But the most important thing when editing is that you're unpredictable. So instead of doing this edit, instead do this bottom right edit whilst you're on a cone and crouch behind the cone like this, and then you can go for a shot. And this is really good if the enemy is in a box and in this corner, or this half of the box specifically. If he's like this and you do this edit, he can't shoot you at all, but you can shoot him if you're crouched behind a cone like this, but you're fully protected. Another example of making the right edit for the right situation is, let's say the enemy's boxed up here like this, and then you're here pressuring like this. Instead of doing a really open, obvious edit like this, even though it might catch the enemy off guard, they're still going to be able to flick and shoot you. But if you make the right edit for the right situation, not that edit, if you make the right edit like this edit, it's going to be a lot harder for them to shoot you. As you can see, they can't shoot you because they're blocked by the wall. So although this edit is good in some situations, like let's say they're boxed up like this again and you take this wall, that edit can be used in this situation like this, and you can go for a shot. Because you're protected behind the cone and they're fully exposed, so you can go like this and then quickly reset. But in this situation where you're above, you're not fully protected and they can shoot you. So that's why you want to go for an edit like this instead, because that means you're fully protected and you can go for a shot on them. And that is a really good move to know, by the way. If you just do this and then take this wall and then place a cone in their box as well, that's a really good move to know in fights when you're above and need to take a wall like that. Super protected, and it always catches people off guard, so I would really recommend learning that move. But another thing you need to know about editing is good crosshair placement, because a lot of people still just edit like this. But this is really bad because you're doing a huge crosshair movement, which means it's going to take longer, and it's also going to prevent you from doing lots of edits in a row. Like let's say you want to learn how to do a quad edit. You probably won't know how to quad edit if you have bad crosshair placement. So instead of doing a big movement like this, what you want to do is move your crosshair as little as possible when making an edit, just like that. And this is going to mean you'll be able to edit a lot faster and do more edits in a row, like I said. And in terms of edit on release, I do recommend people use edit on release. Most of the time, if you're on controller, I actually recommend using double edit binds instead. But once again, it is personal preference mainly, but edit on release will most of the time lead to you having fast edits and faster mechanics. Just keep in mind that fast edits is not all that matters in Fortnite, especially now that the skill gap is so high, because people can now just predict your edits, so it doesn't even matter if you do them fast. It's much better to make sure that you're protected instead of doing a fast edit. And if you go to your settings in the game tab and scroll down to editing, you'll see this option called disable pre-edit option. If you have this on, you won't be able to do pre-edits, but if you have this off, you will be able to do pre-edits, which are basically where you can make an edit without placing the build. And this leads to you being able to do some really good and unpredictable strategies, like doing what's called a pre-edit like this, which is going to catch people off guard. And this is really good for tournaments, getting refreshes in the end game. Let's say your enemy's boxed up like this. What you can do is you can call a pre-edit for you and your duo, or you and your squad, and you can take this wall and catch them off guard. And then when you place it, your edit will already be edited, and this is called a pre-edit, and then you can catch them off guard and instantly get a kill. So that's where pre-edits come into play. But if you aren't the person on your team who uses pre-edits, then I recommend turning them off, because you might end up messing up your edits and doing something like this. and then you mess up your edit. But I recommend one person on your team in competitive to have pre-edits on, and if that's you, then all you need to do is to get used to the timing so you don't mess up with the pre-edit feature on. Let's go over peaks, another thing that lots of people get wrong. And first up, let's go over the basics. Obviously, you always want to make a right hand peak, so always do this version of the edit instead of this version, because Fortnite being a third person game and your character being on the left of your crosshair means doing right hand peaks is always going to be the better option. Another thing you need to make sure with your peaks is that you're fully protected whenever you make a peak, because if you're not fully protected, and let's say you just done the edit normally without being protected first, that would make that an unoptimal edit even though it's the same edit, just because you were protected before going for a shot or before confirming the edit. And if you think about it, if every edit you do in a fight is optimal and makes it so you're behind cover, then it's going to be extremely hard for you to lose a fight because, well, the enemy won't be able to get a shot off on you. So that's why you always want to stay protected in your fights. And you do that by making an optimal and good protected right hand peak. And something else you want to do when you peak is use your movement in your peaks to get a better peak. Because let me just show you an example. Let's say you've done this. You are more protected than if you just done an edit like this, but you're not fully protected because you have to jump and go like that. Because there, when you jump up, the enemy can just shoot your head or something like that. But if you do the same edit and use your movement to make sure you're protected before you confirm the edit, and then you make sure there's a floor above your head, you can just jump and instantly reset. And the time where you're exposed, if you are exposed at all, it's going to be extremely hard for them to hit you and almost impossible. So that's what I mean by use your movement to make sure that you do an optimal edit before you actually confirm the edit. Now let me show you an example of a good peak versus bad peak with something that lots of players do and get wrong most of the time. And this is basically this edit right here where you go for this piece control. But this edit most of the time is the wrong edit to do because it's super predictable. So they can just flick and get a shot on you before you can do anything, and you might shoot them, but then you've just traded damage, so it probably wasn't worth the edit in the first place. Instead, you can do this exact same edit but make it protected like this. And that, look, I'm fully protected, they can't shoot me at all. I can go for a shot and then reset. And to do this version, all you want to do is place a floor and cone, do the double edit, and then place a wall here, and then a wall here, and then a cone. And then you want to look to this position, look down at the floor to place this wall in front of you, and then a cone to push you up. So you can do this window edit, move to the right, so you're behind cover, and then go for a shot and reset. And that is a lot more protected than doing this version, which isn't protected at all, because this won't work against a good player most of the time. Obviously there are some cases, and to know if an edit is the right edit, you need to be paying attention to what your enemy's doing, and you need to be using a reactive playstyle, which is where you react to the decisions they make instead of them reacting to yours. Basically, this just means that you play off of their mistakes, which means you're way less likely to make mistakes yourself, and you can just punish them for all their mistakes. It's the best playstyle in the game for a reason, and pros do it too. Something else you need to know is phasing, and this can end fights in seconds, and it gives you the advantage in fights as well. And there are lots of ways to phase in or to do different phases. Not all of them are phasing in. You can also use phases to phase out of boxes when you're in bad situations, and you can use phasing to phase builds through other builds, which I'll also show you. But first, let me show you some of the basic phase ins. So obviously there's this one where the wall's one shot and you place a ramp over your head, and then you can just phase in like this. So the first one is where this wall's one shot and you have a ramp over your head, then you can do this to phase in. And what this does is this ramp pushes you. As you can see, it gives you a little boost so you can phase through. And you can also do this without a ramp by just phasing in like this. And this is a lot harder to do, but it's also a lot better because it's much less predictable. If you place a ramp over your head like this and you're on their wall like this, if it's a good player, they're probably going to know that you're going to want to phase in. So they're either just going to be place a cone and hold their gun out, or they're going to go for an edit on you and catch you off guard whilst you're swinging in with your pickaxe. and they're going to get a shot on you. So that's why this ramp phase trick is really only good if you can do it fast, and if they're weak and you've got a major health advantage, you can just do something like this to just get in their box and finish the fight as quickly as possible before any third parties come in. And let's say you jumped on their wall, you can also phase in whilst going off of a ramp like this. This time is pretty hard to get down, but with practice you can do it, and once you've got it down, you rarely ever mess up. And you can also do this with guns as well, and you can also slide and go into boxes, but you also don't need to slide. You can literally just get the timing right and you'll go straight through. And you can also do this with no ramp as well. Go straight through with your gun. And let's say the enemy's weak. Obviously you want to be applying pressure at all times, so something you can do is just keep spraying and spray it down to 1 hit, and then when it's 1 hit you can go through like this. Or you can literally just spray into their box like this. Just keep in mind that lots of players go for pre-fires now, so most of the time you want to make the spray unpredictable. Like sometimes you spray a lot, other times you just do tap fires and then go into spraying a lot again to make it unpredictable. Another one you can do if you want to get into an enemy's box is place a cone, do this and then go up against the corner, crouch, and then you'll just be able to phase in like this, and the cone is going to boost you in. And you can also do this with a ramp like this, but from my experience I don't know if this is the case, but I think doing the cone you're way more likely to actually get in the box, because sometimes if you do this ramp and the other player is just hard 0 ping, sometimes they will be able to hold the floor. Another way you can phase in is by doing a door like this, and then you can phase in like this and the door's going to boost you in. But I don't like this at all. It just leaves you completely exposed, and obviously it's really obvious. If a guy just edits a wall like this and then just starts hugging my wall, I'm going to know that he's going to phase in. So this phase trick I wouldn't recommend. And you can also use these phase tricks to phase out of a box when you're in a bad situation. Like let's say this guy gets your wall, you can place a ramp over your head and then you can phase out to make sure you phase out, because they might be holding this wall, so the only way you're going to get out is by doing a phase like this with a ramp over your head. But you can also phase builds through other enemies' boxes like this. Let's say they don't have a cone or anything in their box. What you can do is you can phase a ramp through into their box. Even if they get the wall, what you can do is as you're going for a wall, if they don't have a cone or ramp in their box, you should always do this. Instead of just going to take their wall, what you should do is, obviously when it's one shot, instead of just trying to take the wall, when you break it, place the ramp first and then the wall. And what this is going to do is, even if you don't manage to get the wall and they keep the wall, you're guaranteed to get this ramp through the wall, because it will just turbo build through the wall, and then you're guaranteed to at least get the ramp even if you don't get the wall. Something else you can do is, let's say an enemy's one box above you, you can just phase builds up into their box like this, and then you can get piece control on them. And then if they manage to get cone from that, you can just edit them down like this and then go for a shot. Or if they didn't get cone from that, they'll start panicking and you can start pressuring, taking the wall, and you'll be able to win the fight. But they're the main types of phases you need to know. Now let's talk about high ground retakes. In other words, a set of moves or just one move that you can use to get height when you need to get height. And that move right there was the first one you need to know, which I'm claiming as my retake. Is the Blexiti retake, okay? I've been telling people this for years. What you do is you place a cone and then you edit the cone like this, place a wall, then place a wall to the right, then edit the tiles like this, and then you want to place a wall here, jump and place a ramp and a cone, and then you can just repeat this over and over again. And it's a super OP and also a fast way to take height, and you can do this into different combinations like this as well. And that is also another retake you need to know, which are cone 90s. To do this, you just place a cone, then you edit this tile. Make sure you don't edit these two tiles, because if you do that, you're going to be exposed and they're going to get a shot off on you. So you just want to edit this tile, and then as soon as you confirm the edit, you want to place this wall, and then look above, place a cone, and then look to this side, and place this wall here. And then you want to edit the cone, reset, select these 2 tiles. You can also do this one, but that can also mess up when you go to this. So I recommend doing these 2. And then you can just repeat this over and over again. And it's a really good way to get height. And I'll talk more about how you can actually get height with these retakes, because a lot of you might already know these retakes but can't get height with them. So I'll tell you how to actually get height with them in a minute. But first, a few more retakes you need to know. And first is this one right here. Less of a retake and more of a way to just stay protected and go into a retake and set yourself up for a good retake. But it's also one everyone needs to know. And to do this, you just want to be on a ramp, place this wall, and then swing 4 walls around like this, place a ramp above, and then you can just keep on doing this. And another retake you need to know, which I like to do after doing this one, is what I like to call the swinging monkey, which is this one right here. As you can see, it pairs really nicely with the other one, and you can repeat this over and over again, which is what makes a good retake, ones that you can repeat if needed. And to do this, you just want to place a wall here, and then you want to jump, but as you jump, swing 4 walls around like this and then land on 2 ramps. You land on the one below and then you build one above, so you're protected. And then this is another retake you need to know, which is called a FIFO cone. This has been known for ages, and you won't get height by just spamming these. But again, this is another good way to set yourself up to do other things, like you can place a ramp and then go into cone 90s, or you can just place a ramp, do this, look behind, and then place a cone. And this is also a very good move as it blocks the enemy and means you can go for a shot or get some piece control or something like that. And to do a FIFO cone, you just place a wall here and then one here and then above to the left, and then you place a cone. And to do this trick, which catches them off guard, you just, let's say you've done a FIFO cone, you just do the same thing, but instead of placing the cone above you, you want to edit this window and place a cone above them, and then you can go for some sort of piece control or something like that. But just to be clear, you don't need flashy retakes and overcomplicated retakes. Like, you don't need ones like this. You can do them if you want, but it's just a waste of maps. So I recommend just keeping it simple, and you can still get height with the simple ones. In fact, you'll get height a lot easier with the simple ones because you can just spam them way faster, which means you can take height faster. And as long as you're unpredictable and switch it up, like let's say you go into this one, but then instead of going into another one after this, you can go into cone 90s like this, and then do this, go into another one like that, and then maybe they're there so you can piece control them and go for a shot or something like that. The most important thing is making sure that you're unpredictable so that the enemy just can't just predict you and end up killing you completely. So please keep in mind that the most important thing is just being unpredictable and predicting your opponent by keeping track of them and reacting to what they do, because you should just be playing to react to them and react to their mistakes and take advantage of their mistakes instead of the other way around. You can literally just hold your shotgun out and wait for them to make some sort of mistake, and that's what the best fighters in the world do, like Peterbot. Most of the time they're just holding their shotgun out waiting for the enemy to make a mistake. Like, let's say they're going for piece control or something like this, and then instead of going to pickaxe on there, well, what they do is they just hold their shotgun out and wait for them to make a mistake, like edit, and then you just get a shot off. Or you can also pickaxe and then hold your shotgun out, or you can fake pickaxe and try to bait them to make an edit, and then you can shoot them. Something else you need to know are side jumps, and there's lots of different side jumps, but let me just quickly go over the most important ones. Obviously, you need to be able to do this one where you land on a floor and then a ramp, and you also need to be able to do that one where you place a cone above your head as well, and you need to be able to do the one where you place a wall and then you land on a floor and ramp, because this keeps you protected. And you can also do the same with the cone one as well to add even more protection. But another one I like is this one right here, because you can literally just spam this over and over again, and it's a really good move to know. And you can also mix in side jumps, like you can do this one and then into this one or something like that, and then you can go into something like the cone 90s. Just make sure that when you do the side jumps, you are fully protected like this. And sometimes the enemy will make a mistake, and let's say they're here, they might jump up here. So what you can do is, as you do this, you can go for an edit like this and cone them, and go for a shot or something like that. Now let's go over piece control, what it is, and some piece control moves I think you should all know. Okay, so first, piece control is pretty much just getting as many builds as you can in a fight, so you have more builds than your enemy does, because this means you can go for more plays and you have more control of the fight than your enemy does. But when you are piece controlling, you need to make sure that you're protected whilst piece controlling, and this is known as protected piece control, because even if you get piece control, if you're not protected, they might be able to just go for a shot on you, and even if they're piece controlled, you'll be one shot, or they might even kill you with just one pump. So that's why you want to make sure that ideally you're always protected whilst you're piece controlling or going for piece control. And some good piece control moves to know is this one, which I think I showed you earlier on in the video. And you can also do this one as well, but you just need to make sure that you're keeping track of your opponents, and you know that this will catch them off guard, because otherwise they might just be waiting, or they'll be able to go for a flick on you and get shot off. Another piece control move you need to know is this one right here. That's a good move, and you also need to know how to drop down piece like this, or just a simple drop down piece like this. And then you need to know the piece control move I showed you earlier, which is this one. That can catch people off guard, and obviously you want to place a cone if they don't have a cone in their box as well. Also, you can use this cone placement trick I used about earlier to piece control. Like, you can go like this, and then they'll probably edit out like this to go and build a box like this. But to counter that is, after you've placed this cone, you want to place a cone, and then you can sprint, jump, and go like this and get a shot off. Now, when it comes to box fighting, another move you can do is to edit from one box away. So let's say you get this wall. What you can do is you can edit from this box, and you can make sure you're fully protected behind cover before you do an edit and go for a shot or something like that. Basically, you want to know how to edit from one box away like this, because in box fighting it's a really OP move. And if you notice, I'm fighting from straight on right here, but most cases this actually isn't what you want to do. What you want to do is to fight from diagonal. So if you look, I'm fighting diagonal. We're box fighting diagonally, and what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that you can stay a lot more protected and fight from right hand peaks, and then you can edit from one box away with right hand peaks, and this is just a new level of OP if you play it properly and if you stay protected and make the right peaks. But something else when you're box fighting is to make sure that you pressure from different angles. So let's say you're going up, you can pressure him from here, and you can also pressure from the cone, and then you can drop down, take the wall, and edit like this. The most important thing is pressuring from different angles, pressuring all the angles, and this is going to make the enemy either panic, or it's going to allow you to get some damage off and put you in the advantage in a fight, or it might even catch them completely off guard, and then you can go for some piece control or something like that. But a quick tip before you even start box fighting is to make sure that before you go into a fight, try and get an entry tag or a few entry tags. Just basically try and get an AR beam before you go to fight, so you're in the advantage, and so you're more likely to win the fight. Another thing, when you're playing defensive, you always want to be in at least a 2x1 if you're playing solos. If you're playing duos, then you can be in a 4x4 to give you and your duo enough space to fight from, to go for plays and stuff like that. The more space, the more plays you'll be able to make. Just don't go crazy and start making 10,000 boxes and wasting all your mats. But most importantly, when you're playing defensive, just wait. Just chill and wait for them to make a mistake. Don't just go for an edit instantly, because most of the time they'll be expecting that. Instead, just wait and react to what they do. So let's say they make a mistake by swinging their pickaxe on your wall. What you can do is you can make a protected edit like this and get counter damage on them, because counter damage is the most important thing when you're box fighting and playing defensive, because the only way they're going to stop pressuring you is if you get counter damage. So that's why counter damage is the most important thing you need to prioritize when playing defensive. Now let's talk about tarping, which if you're a competitive player, you need to know how to tarp properly and the best tarps to do. So this one right here is a very good tarp to do in the end game, where you just place these and then you place a wall and a wall here. then floor and a floor. But make sure that you place these walls before you cross this line, because otherwise you're unprotected and you'll be able to get sprayed by another team. And if you get sprayed and cracked, they're going to continue spraying and you're probably going to get server sprayed and then you'll end up dying. So make sure that you place these walls before you cross this line, ideally. And then you also need to know how to do this tunneling here, which is called snake tunneling. And you need to know how to do this upward tunneling like this as well, which is good for if you need to go up layers. And you need to know how to do this solo tarping as well. And another good one to know is this tarp here, where you sprint and slide to get momentum, and then you look down like this. And this is really good if you're on the low ground and you don't have much mats, but you need to get to front side so you can look back and get a kill. You can also just do this without sliding, but obviously if you can slide, you want to slide because you'll be able to tarp better. And also you can do this whilst tarping normally as well, like this, which just means you'll be able to tarp quicker and get ahead quicker, meaning you'll be at more of advantage against other teams. So you can do this and then you'll be able to look back on other teams and spray and stuff like that. Some other things you need to know is that you want to always use movement in fights, so you're unpredictable and so you have good peaks. Like, use your movement, don't just do this generic edit, use your movement and stuff like that. Also, you can use movement in your fights, like not just when peeking and building. Like, let's say the enemy's weak and you're just gonna jump in their box. Instead of just running in their box like this, what you can do is you can slide and you might be able to make them miss their shot and then you'll be able to get the kill. But if you do this slide into the box and stuff like that, make sure that you're confident you can hit your shot and that you do have the health advantage so you don't just get one pumped and die. Also, please keep in mind that you need to stay unpredictable in your fights, and that goes with everything: peeking, editing, movement, and just everything. Because if you're predictable, they'll be able to kill you, and especially any good player, if you're even just a little bit predictable, they'll probably be able to take advantage of it and then you'll just be back in the lobby. Also, keep in mind that a reactive playstyle is the best playstyle, so play to react to what they do instead of you just over-editing, going for a full edit course or something like that. Instead, you be the one who plays off their mistakes. And that is the first part of a video inside the mechanics course of my Discord, The Pro Reality, which is completely free. If you want access to the rest of the video, where I go over how to build an improvement plan that genuinely feels like cheating, then join the Pro Reality. It's completely free. I've also made the best routines you'll find anywhere on the internet. I've got full courses on things like fighting and mechanics, and there's like 30 channels dedicated to helping you see improvement. It's completely free and there is nothing else that will help you improve as much as following the advice in this Discord server will. The amount of people the Pro Reality has helped is insane, and you have to join if you want to improve. The link is in the description. But if you want to watch another video to help you improve even faster, then click the video on screen. But before you go, make sure to like and subscribe and use code Blexiti in the Fortnite item shop if you want to support me further.